where the Gathering of Christ Church, Elder Ricochet issues this challenge. If any Israelite out there can prove to me using the Bible that Cornelius was an Israelite, I don't want to hear you go to Acts, the 2nd chapter, where everybody was there out of all these nations. Okay, out of all the nations that took the gospel back, because you can't prove Cornelius was there. Okay? I don't want to see you try to go to Revelation, the 7th chapter, where it says all people out of every nation and kindred and tongues. After it broke down the 12 tribes of Israel in the verses prior, don't try to go there because Cornelius isn't there either. It doesn't say Cornelius. So make sure you clip this, AC. If any Israelite out there who claims that Cornelius was an Israelite, if you can prove that, number one, whatever church you belong to, and my word is bond, I will donate as an offering out of my own money $1,000 to your church. We will dismantle the Gathering of Christ Church, and we will join up under you.
Alright, shalom to the elect of Israel. I want to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, never well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. And as you see here, alright, and this is, I'm screen recording this from the brother, the elder Manatazak Ba, alright, GMS South Carolina 08, his channel of Bubble-Eyed Blackfish here, saying that he wants Israelites to prove that Cornelius is an Israelite, and offering him $1,000. Look, man, keep your money. We don't want your money, bro. All right. But I saw this and I'm like, man, because look, man, it's 2025 and prophecy is happening. Things are going down, and you still stuck on this. Still, this is something you're supposed to get. Supposed to Ben had got this, man. You see, he's supposed to. Ben had gotten this already, but. So, and this is another reason why you can't be learning from multiple camps, man. You can't learn from multiple camps. These camps are bugging out right now. All right. They've been bugging out, but like, damn. You got Genesis Israelites talking some other crap. The leader of Sakari, Guerrilla Hebrew, he fell out. IUIC is doing more gimmicks. This guy here is talking about, trying to prove Cornelius is an Israelite. He wants you to do that, so he obviously doesn't believe it. So it's crazy, man. That's why we tell you to learn from the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, man. GMS for short. All right? Because the apostles have never changed up the doctrine and have always stayed, on point. So, without further ado, all right, we're going to go into this, man. Okay? You should know at this point, especially, that Cornelius is indeed an Israelite. All right. Now, when Yahweh Shai came, right? Understand when Yahweh Shai came. Okay, when he was walking earth, right? It wasn't, and he was preaching. It wasn't yet supposed to be opened up to the Gentiles. The truth, the gospel wasn't yet to be opened up to the Gentiles. All right, Gentiles being, the Israelite foreigners. Scriptures say, the Lord shall save the tents of Judah first, right? So when Yahweh Shai was walking the earth, right, it wasn't for, the Gentiles just yet. Okay, it was for, those of the circumcision, the Jews, But it wasn't until Acts the 10th chapter, right? that you know, it's happened. Okay, so now let's just get this, because we went through this before. All right, and this is, man, it's just seeing why it's good to brush up on things too. To brush up on topics and stay sharp. But this is the book of Acts, chapter 10, starting at verse 1. There was a certain man at Caesarea called Cornelius. Let me just see something. I can pull a map up here real quick. All right. So let's get something. All right. This is for anyone who doesn't know that Cornelius is an Israelite. And like the elder said in this title, man, that $1,000 Cornelius challenge is to save Esau. These Israelites always want to add the so-called white man into deliverance. He's not going to get delivered, man. All right. As I went through earlier today, real quick, let me just get this real quick. All right. The Lord is not going to deliver Israelites. These are two quick precepts to cut it. Isaiah 31:5. As birds flying, so will Yahweh of hosts defend Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a place before the people. Right? It says defending also, he will deliver it. He will deliver Israel, the elect of Israel. And passing over, he will preserve it. Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, Jacob's trouble, thy people shall be delivered. Thy people. Who's the Lord's people? Israel, the Israelites. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered. How? Because when Yahweh returns, he's going to deliver. He's going to deliver the elect of Israel. See? It says everyone that shall be found written in the book. All right. So salvation is only for the Israelites, man. It's been proven time and time again. But anyways, let's go back to here. Acts the 10th chapter, right? It says there was a certain man at Caesarea called Cornelius. All right. Now Caesarea, all right. You look at it. Caesarea, okay. This is a map from Britannica. Caesarea is already in the land of Israel, man. Okay. Caesarea. Right? Caesarea, right there. It's like up around Tyre and Sidon, I believe. Okay, wait, no. All right, it's below Galilee. It's near Galilee. Okay, it's near Galilee. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. See. If you can see that red, those red letters, that's Caesarea. So it's a little under Galilee, okay? It's near Nazareth. All right, so it's already in the land of Israel, okay? That's strike number 1. It's going to be a whole lot of strikes, so I don't even need to count it. But it says there was a man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, right? The Italian band. Let me just get something real quick, man. All right. Let me just look this. I'm gonna cut this, man, because this precept's popping into my head as I'm going. Call Haloyim La Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. But let me get this real quick. A centurion of the band called the Italian band. I just want to look up Cornelius' name. All right. Called Cornelius. It says of a horn, okay, a Roman centurion of the Italian cohort stationed in Caesarea, who converted this to Christianity, but not Christianity like they had people do today. But cohort, it says a group of people with a shared characteristic. 3, it says an ancient Roman military unit comprising 6 centuries equal to 1/10 of a legion. So he was, a centurion. Okay, let's go back. It says, so now I'm gonna read it over here. Let me just put it full here. Right, it says a devout man, and one that feared the Most High with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to the Most High always. A devout man. Let's look this word devout up. All right. Devout. And brothers have went into this time and time again, but it's Eusebes. It says pious, dutiful, pious, well reverent, i.e. pious, devout, godly. What does pious mean? Okay. It says devoutly religious, devout, devoted, dedicated, reverent, God-fearing, Okay, what do the scriptures say? Alright, I don't know why I keep doing this sometimes, but what do the scriptures say? This is the book of Romans, chapter 10, starting in verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to the Most High for Israel is that they might be saved. Verse 2, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. Right? The Israelites have a zeal of the Most High. The Greek word for that is zelos. It says excitement of mind, ardor, fervor of spirit. Okay? Zeal, ardor, and embracing. Let's look at this word ardor. Enthusiasm or passion. You could say someone that's devout obviously has enthusiasm or passion. Someone that's devout for the Lord, all right, has enthusiasm or passion. It says zeal, ardor, and embracing, pursuing, defending anything. So if Cornelius let's get this straight. Apostle Paul said that the nation of Israel have a zeal of the Most High. Okay, they have that ferventness, enthusiasm, and passion about the Lord, right? And it said Cornelius was a devout man. You think Esau has that? Okay. You think the heathens have that for the Lord? No, man. So it says a devout man and one that feared the Most High with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to the Most High always. Right? He saw in a vision evidently about the 9th hour of the day an angel of the Most High coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. Right? So Cornelius, it says, he saw in a vision evidently about the 9th hour of the day an angel of the Most High coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, what is it, Lord? And he said unto him, thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before the Most High. Right? And the scriptures talk about how the angels take up the prayers of who? Now, I'm not saying this is Gabriel, but let me just get this real quick. This is Tobit chapter 12, verse 15. It says, I am Raphael, one of the 7 holy angels, which present the prayers of the saints. And it said Cornelius prayed all the time, right? And which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One, right? Yeah, so there are angels that take up the prayers of the saints, man. But who are the saints? Who are the saints, man? This is the book of Psalms, chapter 148, and verse 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel. The people near unto him praise ye the Lord. All right, if you can't even see just now Cornelius is an Israelite, like, come on, man. Okay? And then guess what else the scriptures say? I'm going to get it on this one. This is St. John, chapter 9, verse 31. It says, now we know that the Most High heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshiper of the Most High and doeth his will, him he heareth. So in order for the Lord to actually hear, all right, and accept your prayer, you can't be a sinner, okay? And what is sin? Breaking of the law. Now guess what? Who were the laws given to? Let's get it. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 147, in verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. What is the word statutes? This is the Hebrew word chak, and it says statute, ordinance, limit. All right. Then here it says what? Law in general. Boom. The laws. All right. Cornelius is an Israelite, man. I'm going to keep going, though. So Acts 10. So the angel said Cornelius' prayers came up for a memorial before the Most High. Right? So then the angel continued on and saying, it says, and now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. Talking about Apostle Peter, right? He lodgeth with one Simon a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do. And when the angel which spake, so the angel told Cornelius that his prayers came for memorial, all right, and now told him to send men to Joppa, right, and basically call for Apostle Peter, okay, and Apostle Peter is going to tell him what to do. All right, so let's just, put things in perspective here, okay. So this was along the seaside, okay. Caesarea is right there, so the angel told him to send men from there to Joppa, okay. You see it on the map. Right, verse 7, and when the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called 2 of his household servants and a devout soldier of them that waited on him, of them that waited on him continually. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But so Peter went on the housetop to pray, right? And he became hungry, right? It says, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance. And this word trance here, let's get it real quick. Ecstasis, it says, any cast down of a thing from its proper place or state, displacement, throwing of the mind out of its normal state. All right, alienation of mind, whether such as makes a man lunatic, or that of a man who by some sudden emotion is transported as it were out of himself, so that in his rapt condition, although he is awake, his mind is drawn off from all surrounding objects, and wholly fixed on things divine, that he sees nothing but the forms and images lying within, and thinks that he perceives with his bodily eyes and ears reality shown him by the Most High. Amazement. All right, so it's basically talking about, Apostle Peter saw a vision, okay? The Lord gave Apostle Peter a vision. Now it says, and saw heaven, it says, and a certain vessel descending unto the earth, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth. And why does it say the four corners, right? Because what? This is the book of Deuteronomy 28 and verse 64. It says, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people. Scatter who? The Israelites among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So the Israelites were scattered. Okay. Acts chapter 10 again. Okay. And I'm jumping the gun. Acts chapter 10 and verse 12, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts. I'm going to start verse 11. And saw heaven opened, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. All right, and basically what this represents is the Israelite foreigners. Okay, you know, they were in that beast-like state. You know, the Gentiles. You know, and this doesn't mean that you can literally eat, you know, animals and stuff like that. You know, any type of animal. All right, that's not what it's saying. Right? It says, and there came a voice to him, saying, and there came a voice to him, rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. Okay. And a scripture for that, you know, the animals and everything, right? So Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 3:18. I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that the Most High might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. Okay, you know, as these Gentiles, you know, were in a beast-like state. Okay, so Acts, I'll get it over here. Let's lock it. Acts 10 and 14 says, but Peter said, and the Christians think that this means you can eat anything, which it doesn't. It says, but Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. Verse 15, and the voice spake unto him again the second time, what the Most High hath cleansed, that call not thou common. Right? And let me just see, common, koinos, common, i.e. ordinary belonging to generality, by the Jews unhallowed, profane, Levitically unclean. See? And this thing, you have to know, you know, as the apostles say, you have to know the history to understand the mystery. Okay? And it says, what the Most High hath cleansed, that call not thou common, right? So now I'm going to just jump down to the point. All right? So, verse 24 says, that it started verse 24. And the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them, and had called together his kinsmen and near friends. And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him, and fell down at his feet, and worshipped him. Peter took him up, saying, stand up, I myself also am a man. And as he talked with him, He went in and found many that were come together. And he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. See? Because it was looked down on. And this other nation, all right, let's look this up. One of them, and these Christians love, they use this too, man. They don't know shit. But coming to one of another nation, Hebrew, well, not Hebrew, but the Greek word is aluphalos, right? It says foreign, but when you break the word down, right, here it says foreign, i.e., especially Gentile, one of another nation, right? When you break this word down, alas means another, and phile or phule means a tribe. It says in the New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob. So this wasn't another heathen nation, all right? This was an Israelite foreigner, okay? That didn't keep the customs of the land of it, that they didn't, they were in that Gentile mindset. Let me get a precept. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 105. No, Psalm 106, I believe. Yeah, verse 35. It says, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. Talking about our people. They were mingled among the heathen and they learned their works, man. Okay? And I also meant to add earlier on, okay? But in the top of Acts, the 10th chapter, where it says, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, you gotta understand, right? You already had Israelites up there in Rome, Italian, Italy, Rome, okay? But this is Hebrews 13 and verse 24. Salute all them that have rule over you and all the saints. They of Italy salute you. Grace be with you all. Amen, right? Let me get this real quick. Rome. This is Acts 18:2. It says, I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it says, after these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth and found a certain Jew, named Aquila. This is a Jew, an Israelite, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy with his wife Priscilla. Why? It says, so this was an Israelite that was dwelling in Italy, and he had come from Italy, so with his wife Priscilla. Why? Because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome. See, our people were already over there. Our people were already amongst Rome and up in Italy. All right, and as the swole-eyed false teacher right here said, "Get back."
Don't try to go there because Cornelius, after it broke down the 12 tribes of Israel in the verses prior, don't try to go there because Cornelius' tongue. Okay? I don't want to see you try to go to Revelation, the seventh chapter, where it says all people out of every nation and kindred and tongues. After it broke down the 12 tribes of Israel in the verses prior, don't try to go there because Cornelius isn't there either. It doesn't say Cornelius. So make sure you clip there. Out of all these nations, I don't want to hear you go to Acts, the 2nd chapter, where everybody was there. Out of all these nations, okay, out of all the nations that took the gospel back, because you can't prove Cornelius was there.
And now I'm about to go directly to Acts, the 2nd chapter. This is the book of Acts, chapter 2, starting in verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. So there were dwelling here at this point in time Jews in Jerusalem from every nation, right? It says under heaven. Right here, right? It says verse 6. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. These were Jews that are getting ready to say this, right? It says, and they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born? Parthians and Medes and Elamites and dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia in Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians. We do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of the Most High. Okay? Let me just look up something. Quick Google search. Because it said Rome. I'm just double checking on something. Is Rome in Italy? Just double checking. Rome is the capital. Oh, man. I'm telling you, it just, man. Anyways. So, we're not saying that Cornelius was here at this point in time. But this shows that what? There were Israelites that dwelled in the land of Rome. See? So, when we read about Cornelius, a centurion of the Italian band, all right? Don't think just because it's Italian it means he's a heathen. Nah. There were Israelites up there living in Rome and living in Italy. Okay? For example, Aquila. All right, so going down back to Acts 10 and 28, it says, and he said unto them, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. All right, meaning it was looked down, all right, upon for, basically one of the circumcision, one that had grown up in the land, kept the customs, the laws, and everything, all right, to, keep company with an Israelite foreigner, one who had, didn't keep the customs of the land, was keeping the customs of the places they were dwelling at, It says, but the Most High hath showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean, right? And that's what that vision was for, okay? Not talking about food, right? It said the Lord has showed him where? In the vision, that I should not call any man common or unclean. Because the Lord basically could clean him up with the word and everything. Verse 29, therefore came I unto you without gainsaying, as soon as I was sent for. I asked therefore what intent ye have sent for me. And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour, and at the 9th hour I prayed in my house, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing, and said, Cornelius, thy prayer is heard. So this goes back to that John 9:31. If any man do the will of the Most High, him he heareth, paraphrasing. See, Cornelius is the Israelite, man. Read in the Apocrypha how the angels take up the prayers of the saints. Who the saints? Israelites. You think the Lord is gonna hear the accept and hear the prayers of the heathens? Hell no, man. It says the 9 alms are had in remembrance in the sight of the Most High. Send therefore to Joppa and call hither Simon, whose surname is Peter. He is lodged in the house of one Simon, a tanner by the seaside, who, when he cometh, shall speak unto thee. Immediately therefore I sent to thee, and thou hast well done that thou art come. Now therefore are we all here present before the Most High, to hear all things that are commanded thee of the Most High. Right? Now continue on, verse 34. And it says Gentiles hear good news, but you got to understand, you got the actual Gentiles, because Gentile basically means nation. Alright, so you got the actual Gentiles, like the heathen nations, alright, the Gawayim, that's Gentiles in the Hebrew, right, the heathen nations. But then you also have Israelites, right, that were living amongst the heathen nations, right, and they had taken on those ways, alright, of the heathen nations. They, for example, they were living up in Rome, alright, they probably would have been wearing those togas, etc., eating pork and all of that stuff, right? Just to show you that, that's not, that's true, that, there were Israelites that were called Gentiles, right? Let me get this. This is the book of St. John, chapter 7 and verse 35. It says, then said the Jews among themselves. I'm going to start at verse 33. Now verse 32 says, the Pharisees heard that the people murmured such things concerning him, and the Pharisees and the chief priests sent officers to take him. Then said Yahushua unto them, yet a little while I am with you, and then I go unto him that sent me. Ye shall seek me and shall not find me, and where I am, thither ye cannot come. Right? Verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go to the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Who is the dispersed? I mean, we just read in Deuteronomy 28:64 that the Lord said he would scatter Israel among all nations. And what's another word for nation, as we just read, or as we just told you? Gentile, man. All right. But then it says, and teach the Gentiles, right? Talking about the Israelite foreigners living amongst the lands of the heathens, following their customs. All right, let me look up that word dispersed diaspora, right? It says of scattering, dispersion of Israelites dispersed among foreign nations. See? There you go. All right, so yes, Gentiles that this is being preached to is Israelites, man. All right, these Christians don't understand that they're Israelite foreigners. Okay, they don't understand that history. But it's the book of Acts 10. Continuing on. So when it says Gentiles here, good news, in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, it says Gentile usually means, a non-Israelitish people, roughly paraphrasing. Usually, so not always. But Acts 10:34. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth I perceive that the Most High is no respecter of persons. Right? It says, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. So that would make somebody think, well, see, what are you talking about? But it said in every nation. Right? Because why? Israel was scattered amongst all nations. You have to understand this. This is a part of the milk. The milk is important. Right? So those Israelites that scattered among them, if they work in righteousness, all right, and fear the Lord, fear Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, they are accepted with him. And we in this time, all right, have what? We've been we've all became Gentiles. We had the falling away. All right. Jeremiah 17:4. We felt discontinued from our heritage. See? But now the Lord is, bringing us back. All right. And those of the elect are going to be, which are scattered, okay, to this day, scattered in other lands around the world. All right. They fear the Lord and work righteousness. They're accepted with him. You see? So this is not saving no Esau, none of that, man. All right. Verse 36. Then check this out. The word which the Most High sent unto the children of Israel, preaching peace by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. He is Lord of all. Who is this truth for? Who is this gospel for? Who is this word for? The children of Israel, man. Okay. And when you read down here, don't get confused when it says verse 45. And they of the circumcision which believe, circumcision meaning those of the Jews who lived in the land, grew up in the customs and everything, because were astonished, as many as came with Peter, because that on the Gentiles, on the Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that didn't grow up in the land, keeping the customs and all of that, it says also was poured out the gift of the Holy Spirit. Right? So, there you go. You see? So Cornelius is definitely not a heathen. This is why you can't learn from every camp, man. Titus chapter 1 verse 10. But there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they the circumcision. So there's going to be, people who, teach the wrong thing, especially if those know that they're Israelites. Simple as that, man. These people, man, they just spew all types of madness. And that's what Yahweh said, Matthew chapter 24. Verse 11, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Stop trying to save all the heathen nations, man. The heathen nations don't like you. They're not going to be ruling in the kingdom of heaven. All right? They're going to be put down, man. It's going to be the kingdom of the Israelites. Planet of the Jakes, man. All right? So, look at this nigga face, man. This is going to be the thumbnail. His face right there is going to be the thumbnail. Look at that shit. Look. Yeah, that's going to be the thumbnail. Yep. That's the thumbnail right there. There it is. Gotcha. Ciao. Alright. But hey, with that, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that were well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.